This is a stop shot. This is a stun shot. This is a drag shot. And this is deflection. Let's start with the most confused issue in pool today, and that is deflection. If you're putting dead center on a cue ball and you're hitting it dead center, there will be no deflection. Deflection occurs when we put English on the cue ball, whether intentionally or unintentionally. It's the path that the cue ball takes off the tip of the cue. If we put right hand English on the cue ball squirts a little bit to the left. And these graphics are way over exaggerated to illustrate the point. If we put left hand English on the cue ball squirts a little bit to the right. You are shooting a round object on the right hand side. You can try it with a beach ball, a bowling ball, a tennis ball, or a golf ball. If you hit that round object on the right hand side, it will deflect a little bit to the left. And it will deflect to the right if you put left hand English on it. I don't care if you hit it with a Q-tip. I don't care if you hit it with a black shaft, a blue shaft, a white shaft, or a wooden shaft. Now, before you get all mad and trying to get me arrested and barred from Arizona billiards, there are ways to make a Q shaft a little bit less deflective than a normal standard wooden shaft. And so they hollow out the end of the shaft and the ferrule and they fill it with some kind of monkey dung or something. And the theory is it's supposed to send less energy into the cue ball and therefore less deflection. Hollowing out a wooden shaft calls for very, very strong and expensive wood. Otherwise, if you do it with cheap wood, you're going to greatly reduce the strength of that shaft. So they went to various forms of metal and aluminum, fiberglass, and carbon. The problem with all that comes when a bad player shoots a shot and thinks they're hitting dead center, no English, and misses the ball, and thinks it's because the cue ball deflected. So instead of taking responsibility for the really sucky stroke, they blame it on the cue shaft. And then they go out and they buy an expensive carbon fiber shaft and they go back to the table and they still miss the ball. But that's a good thing because now they're going to either quit or they're going to have to take responsibility for the really sucky stroke. Because they might think they're aiming dead center and they are aiming dead center, but they're not hitting the cue ball at dead center because they have a really bad stroke. And note how they say low deflection. They don't say no deflection because there is no such thing as no deflection if you're going to put right or left on the cue ball. Another big problem comes when a legitimately good player, really strong player, goes out and buys one of these things just because he wants the best equipment available and everybody's talking about it or whatever. And then he brings it home and gets on the table and he has to shoot a shot with English and he misses it because the cue ball is deflecting a little bit less than what he's used to. And he's used to getting down on the line with the compensated deflection. So this guy has spent his whole life getting down on the right line, doing everything right, and just needs a little bit of work on his game, and now he's missing everything. And this all started with these bogus aiming systems, right? So they're telling these really bad players to get down on balls and pivot, right? So you're now offline, and what that is doing is compensating for that really, really bad stroke. So because there's millions and millions and millions of players with really bad strokes, they keyed in on their market and they got a whole lot of YouTube videos, and this is not the correct way to play pool. Once you get down on that line, you don't want to move anything out of line. So that player that gets down on that line of aim and then pivots and makes a ball didn't compensate for deflection. He compensated for his really bad stroke. So let's say you're standing up and back of a shot and looking for the line on a shot that you're going to have to put a little bit of right hand in control. The key to this is to understand where the line is with that deflection built into it. And not to aim for the center of the 8-ball, but to aim right about here, more or less, depending on your particular shaft, and get down on that line. And of course, the key to all of that is in knowing your equipment, knowing your shaft, knowing your cue, and knowing yourself. So let's say you just went out and bought some ugly black shaft, and now you're going to go play pool. You can't do it the old way. You can't get down on that line anymore. Now you have to get down on the line with less deflection. If you spent 20 years of your life learning how to play pool and then you switch to a carbon fiber shaft, you're going to have to get down on a different line than the line you've been getting down on for 20 years. So basically, you have to relearn the whole game. And this happens, man. It happened to John Schmidt. It took him 2 years to get used to a carbon fiber shaft. And in the meantime, he was missing everything. People were asking if he was drunk. You don't look for the line or guess where the line is while you're down on a shot. You just don't do it. And these companies and these video makers act like nobody ever made a shot before their videos or their products. It bothers me. Sorry. Let's take a look at the drag shot and see exactly what's happening with the cue ball on this shot and why and where and when you should shoot this shot. So you're hitting the ball with bottom on it, but your intention is not to draw the ball. It's just to use that bottom to slow down the inertia and the weight of the cue ball. And in the middle of the shot, and long before it hits the object ball, it starts sliding like it's on ice. It's between rolling forward and rolling backward. Then when it starts rolling forward, that's when you want to hit and make the object ball. And the whole purpose of this shot is to greatly slow down the cue ball. So if we look at this shot again, we can see that if we hit a stun shot here, we're going to go way too hard into the rail or into the 8-ball or into the other side of the rail where we can't make the shot because the 5-ball is blocking this pocket. So we want to be on this side of the 8-ball. And not only do we want to be on that side, but we have to be absolutely perfect and just kind of roll in there nice and easy. The only way to accomplish this is with a drag shot. So let's go look at this shot in slow motion and let's see what's going on with that cue ball. And you'll see here it starts out rolling backward and then it skids between backward and forward and then it starts rolling forward very, very slowly, barely taps the 15 ball and barely trickles into the exact place where we need to be to shoot the 8. So it's like we shot the 15 ball from here and we just tapped it in and got perfect shape on the 8 ball. It comes in very, very handy, and that's why I shoot it all the time. And you've seen the pros shoot it many, many times. You might not have been aware of it, but that's what they were doing, and this is how they were getting position on the ball. These come in very, very handy, especially when you're at an extreme angle and you have a ball in the rail and you just want to bounce lightly off the rail. This drag shot is the answer. Let's take a look at the stop shot, and to accomplish this, you have to be dead straight into the buck. And if you remember the drag shot, there's a point where the cue ball is skidding. It's not rolling forward or backward. And that is exactly the point where you want to hit that object ball. So it's the same as drag shot without the forward roll. If you let it start rolling forward, that cue ball is going to roll forward and pass the mark. The stun shot is the same exact thing as a stop shot, but the ball can't stop because it's not straight in, so therefore it has to stun itself over to the left or the right, depending on which angle you're at. So what do you say we run a couple of racks and we see if we can recognize these shots within these runouts, and we'll cherry pick them out and let you know what you're looking at. Now this is nothing but a little bit of top on it to get back down table. You want to hit that bottom round bounce off. And you don't have to put a ton of top on that because it's such an extreme angle that it will get back down table. A little bit of top left, and don't be afraid to overstroke this ball. You can't go too far wrong here because even if you went all the way over to the rail, you're still going to have a shot on the 3 and be able to get perfect on the 4. This is just top, straight top. Don't put left or right on it if you don't have to. Yeah, and this 4-ball shot is a stun shot, but it's not going to do much because I'm a little too straight in and out of the line. I just wanted to kind of get off that rail a little bit. And now we're out of line. Let's see what we do on the 5. And I believe we just go back and forth. This straight top here, just back and forth across the table. I'm trying to get around that 7 and cutting it very close. And a straight bottom on this 6-ball shot. You just want to poke out the center table and shoot the 7 in the side, and you should be perfect on the 8-ball to get on the 9. And a little bit of bottom on that shot just to pull it out. And I'm not exactly straight in here, but I just rolled down a couple inches and hit that rail light. Now, a lot of guys make the mistake of doing too much on this shot when all you have to do is go to that rail and you're dead on the 9-ball for the side. And hey, let's look at another one, Scooby. Oh, look at that cluttered mess over there. And we got a long, tough shot on this 1 ball. That 2 ball is hiding behind those 3 balls. You can barely see it. So top left there to go to that right hand round. Try to get that 2 ball out of there. And the right angle on the 2 to bounce off and knock that 7 ball out of there. Either the 7 or the 3, something has to come in. The 7 is good. I think I shot that with bottom right just to plow it off the rail there. Kind of a tough shot on the 3, but it should give me perfect position on the 4. I'm going to reset there because I was off the line. Just going back and forth. Again, that was shot with a straight top. And I'm out of line here. I'm on the left side of the 4, so I got to put a ton of top left on this. Go to that rail and bounce the cue ball down table. That's a little risky. You could scratch there. Top right to hold it to the right hand side rail and go right back up table for the 6. And this should allow us to get right on the 7. Yeah, that's a stun shot right there. Same as a stop shot, except at an angle. And that was perfect. It got me on the right hand side of the line to get right on the 8, but you don't want to get straight in on the 8. You got to be careful there. Still need an angle to get down the table. Using top out and going down to the bottom. I didn't know what I was doing there first. It's like, what are you doing? I was more comfortable. This table's playing fast today, so I was more comfortable using the bottom round bouncing off. Because it was a natural position on the 9. Let's look at another one, Scuba. Alright, here's a drag shot on this one ball to greatly slow down the cue ball. I have a little bit of an angle here, and that slow cue ball should get on the left-hand side of the 2 ball to come. Oh, the 3's in a really awkward place here. So this should be a stun draw. Yep. Oh, we're banking the 3. I guess it was my only option. It's best to shoot this softly right hand English center right to shoot that shot, and you are absolutely perfect on the 4 ball. Plus, you knocked that 8 ball out towards center table. Another stun draw to go over to the 5 ball. And I can't draw this, so what? I don't remember what I'm doing. Or maybe I can draw. Now I'm just going back and forth across the table again, but I'm pretty bad on. Oh, I'm straight in on this 6 ball, and I can only put top in. I gotta cheat this pockets just so I don't scratch you. Oh, I'm shooting it super soft. And just going to that round, I think I still cheated that pocket. But I'm pretty safe. I mean, the 7 ball is straight dead in the side, so all I gotta do is hit that lightly too. I don't know if that was smart. I'm using deflection here. I'm jacking up and using deflection and putting right hand English on it and forcing the cue ball. It's almost a Marseille shot, but it wasn't. I just needed to get around that 9 ball. If I shot that straight with center, no English, I would have hit that 9 ball. And that's it. That last one was dead center ball. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you. I hope you pick something up that will help your pool game. And I will see you soon.